Ever get that feeling on vacation, that sense of being truly lost? And I'm not talking about like misplacing your sunglasses or something. I mean like a deeper kind of lost and a little unsettling.
Oh, absolutely. That feeling of disorientation when you're in a new place and things just feel dud off.
Exactly. And the story we're diving into today, well, let's just say it takes that feeling of being lost to a whole new level.
I think our listeners are going to love this one.
Oh, I think so too. It's one of those stories that really stays with you. So we asked you guys to share some creepy YouTube videos with us, and this one, Five Friends Lost in a Supernatural Village from the channel Nadia Omara, immediately caught our eye.
Oh, I remember that one. It's based on a real experience, right?
Right. Sent in from Indonesia. And as we dig into it today, I think it'll raise some interesting questions about, the choices we make and the unseen forces that might be at play in our lives.
I'm intrigued already. So, where do we even begin with this one?
Well, we meet our cast, so to speak.
Yeah.
Five friends from Java, Indonesia: Irma, Agni, Robbie, Dika, and Selly. They decide to head off on a camping trip to the beach.
Sounds idyllic enough so far. A classic vacation setup.
Right. But as we know with these kinds of stories, that initial sense of normalcy, it doesn't usually last very long.
Definitely. The calm before the storm, as they say.
Okay, so on their way to the beach, they stop at a gas station. Pretty standard stuff, right?
Sure, a pit stop to fuel up before the adventure really begins.
Exactly. But here's where things get a little weird. Agni, one of the friends, starts to feel like someone's watching them.
Okay, yeah, I've totally been there. That feeling of eyes on you, especially in a new place, not great.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just a feeling. There's this older man who seems to be staring intently at them. And get this, he actually approaches Agni and warns them. He tells them, don't continue your journey if you want to stay safe.
Ooh, that's creepy. It's like something straight out of a horror movie. And you have to wonder, in those situations, do you trust your gut?
Right. It's like that old saying, listen to your elders. But even more so when they're giving you cryptic warnings.
For sure.
Hmm.
Especially in a place like Indonesia, where there's such a rich history and folklore surrounding the supernatural.
You've got that right. But, like many of us might do, the friends try to shrug it off. They think maybe this guy's just a little eccentric.
Sure, maybe having a bad day. It's easier to rationalize than to really take it to heart.
Exactly. So they continue on their journey, eventually reaching the beach in the late afternoon, setting up their tents. One for the guys, one for the ladies. Seems like everything's back on track, right?
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but that night, Robbie and Agni, they're the couple in the group, decide to head out to find some cigarettes.
Seems innocent enough. A little late night stroll.
Right. But let me tell you, this decision right here, it's kind of the catalyst for everything that unfolds. Hours pass, and they don't return to the campsite. The others eventually fall asleep. But the next morning, Dika comes stumbling out of the men's tent, shouting about Robbie.
Oh no, this doesn't sound good. What happened?
Well, Robbie's fainted, and there's blood pouring from his nose.
Yeah.
It's like the story went from 0 to 60 in a heartbeat.
And a nosebleed. That's not just a random detail, is it? I mean, in a lot of cultures, especially in stories about spirits and such, nosebleeds can be a sign that something's spiritually off.
Oh, I totally agree. It's like Robbie's body is trying to tell him something's wrong.
Yeah.
And it gets even weirder because when he finally wakes up, he tells them about this incredibly vivid dream. He says he was being chased by 3 figures before falling into, like, a deep, dark ravine.
Okay, yeah. We're definitely in spooky territory now. Vivid dreams, especially ones that feel that real, they can be so unsettling.
Totally. So they try to shake off these unsettling events. I mean, they're on vacation, right? They head out to grab some breakfast at a local food stall. But as they're ordering, a young child approaches them. And listen to this. The child says, be careful, something is following you. It will be difficult to leave.
Oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. Talk about chilling. It's those seemingly insignificant encounters, the ones that catch you completely off guard, that can be the most unnerving.
Totally agree. Especially when it's a child saying it. It's like they have a certain kind of awareness that adults sometimes lose.
Exactly. And this child's warning about something following them, that really makes you wonder if they've stumbled into something way beyond their understanding.
You're hitting the nail on the head with that one. So despite their growing unease, they decide, you know what, we're going to try to enjoy the rest of our day at the beach.
I guess ignoring it seems like the easiest way to cope in the moment, right?
Yeah, it's like, let's just pretend everything's fine and hope for the best.
Yeah.
But as the sun starts to set, they hop on their motorcycles to head home. And this is where things take a very, very dark turn.
So picture this. Okay. The sun's starting to set, right? Casting these long, creepy shadows as they're driving. And the road, it gets narrower and narrower, surrounded by this thick forest. They think they're finally heading back to, civilization. But then
Uh-oh, I don't like where this is going. What happens? What do they see?
they hear the roar of engines behind them. They turn to look, and it's like something straight out of a nightmare, seriously. A group of men on motorcycles, and get this, they're brandishing swords and machetes.
Hold on, swords and machetes. Okay, this just took a terrifying turn. What do they do?
Well, I mean, what would you do? They panic. They hit the gas, trying to outrun these guys. It's total chaos. The sun's going down, casting this eerie light, and they're just trying to survive.
Just giving me chills just hearing about it.
Yeah, and to make matters worse, right? Their phones, they're completely dead, no signal. Just when they think it can't get any worse, they stumble upon this little, dimly lit food stall by the side of the road. Warung, I think they called it.
Okay, so it's late, they're lost, their phones are dead. I guess stopping at a warung makes sense, even if it seems a little, creepy.
Oh, totally. But they're desperate. They figure maybe they can get some directions, some help, right? But here's where it gets really strange. They order some tea, and before they can even ask for help, the old woman running the warung, she just looks at them and says, "You must be lost."
Okay, yeah, that's creepy. Like, she just knew.
Exactly. It's like she was expecting them or something. Then, get this, she gives them very specific directions to get back to the main road. But, and this is a big but.
Oh, there's always a but. What's the catch?
She tells them, and I quote, "Never look back once they start driving again."
Ooh, never look back.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just creepy. It's like a universal warning in scary stories, right?
Yeah.
Like, whatever you do, don't look back.
Right. And it makes you wonder, what happens if you do look back? What are you not supposed to see?
Okay, now I'm really curious and a little scared. So do they listen to her? Do they look back?
Well, they try to. They drive away. But Irma, she's a little curious. She can't help herself. She sneaks a peek over her shoulder.
Oh, no, Irma. What does she see?
Well, that's just it. She doesn't see anything. The warung, the old woman, it's all gone. Vanished, like it was never even there.
Whoa, are you serious? That's insane. It's like something out of the Twilight Zone.
It really is. And now they're really freaked out, right? They try to tell themselves that maybe they were just tired or seeing things. But deep down, they know something's not right. And as if things couldn't get any weirder, they realize that hours have passed, but it feels like days.
Wait, hold on. Time is messed up now, too. Seriously.
Seriously. It's like they've entered this other realm where the normal rules don't apply. They've lost track of time.
Okay, now my head is spinning. This is just too much.
Yeah.
So, what happens next? Do they ever get back to reality as we know it?
No.
So they're lost. Time is all messed up. This is more than just a creepy encounter now. What happens next?
Well, they eventually come across a gated community. Think, those little neighborhoods with the big fences and the security guards. They're desperate for help at this point.
Yeah, I can only imagine. So do they find any answers?
Well, that's the thing. They tell the guards about everything. The chase, the war vanishing into thin air, the whole time warp thing.
What do the guards say?
They don't believe them at all. The guards are like, "Nope, never seen it. No warung, no old woman. You guys must be mistaken."
Oh, man. Talk about adding insult to injury. They've gone through this terrifying experience and now nobody believes them. It's like being gaslighted by the universe.
I know. It's like their experience, their reality, it just doesn't exist. And get this, right as they're trying to process all of this, they finally get a signal on their phones.
Whoa.
So they can finally call for help.
You'd think so, right? But remember how they lost track of time? Well, when they check their phones, it's not Sunday night or even Monday morning like they thought it should be.
Don't tell me.
It's Wednesday morning.
No way. They were gone for 3 days. 3 days. Just gone.
Okay, yeah, that's not normal, even with everything else that's happened. What could even explain that?
Well, in a lot of cultures, especially in Indonesia, they believe that these kinds of time distortions, they can be caused by jinn.
Oh, right. You mentioned them earlier. They're like supernatural beings, right?
Exactly. Powerful spirits. They can be
Yeah.
mischievous, even dangerous sometimes, and they have this ability to mess with time and space.
Okay, this is definitely starting to sound like one of those be careful what you wish for kind of stories.
Yeah.
But why would the jinn target them, especially Agni?
Well, remember how Agni was like drawn to that old man at the gas station at the very beginning, and then her behavior at that other gas station after the time thing? It was like she was a completely different person.
Yeah, and that whole craving for raw fish, super creepy.
Right. So putting it all together, it really seems like Agni might have become, well, possessed.
You mean like possessed by a spirit?
Like
As
in
in
the
a-
movies. It
Right.
sounds crazy, but when you consider everything else that happened, the warnings, the time distortion, it's definitely a possibility. And if that's the case, well, let's just say this story is about to get even more intense. Because dealing with a possession, that's a whole other level of scary. It's a reminder that sometimes the choices we make, even seemingly small ones, can have consequences we could never have imagined. Consequences that might lead us to confront the unknown, the unexplained, and the forces that lie beyond our understanding. What do you think this says about our own relationship with the unknown? Have we become too quick to dismiss the things we can't explain?